Captain Taman Park stared at the massive alien ships floating in space ahead of them. His hands gripped the arms of his captain's chair as he watched the strange vessels through the main screen of the Soul's Pride. After 3 years of deep space exploration, this was humanity's first contact with alien life. Sora, how many ships are we looking at? Taman asked his navigation officer. Sora Kim checked her instruments twice before answering. 12 large vessels, Captain. Each one is about 3 times the size of our ship. Taman felt his heart beating faster. This was the moment humanity had dreamed about for centuries. He looked around the bridge at his crew. Communications specialist Hana Choi was already working at her station, trying to establish contact. Chief Engineer Woo Jin Lee monitored the ship's systems, ready for anything. Hana, are you getting any signals from them? Taman asked. Yes, Captain. They're broadcasting on multiple frequencies. Our computer is trying to translate their language, now. Hana's fingers moved quickly over her control panel. It's working, sir. The translation software is learning their speech patterns. The main screen flickered, and suddenly an alien face appeared. The creature looked like a cross between a lion and a lizard, with golden scales and bright yellow eyes. When it spoke, the computer translated its words into Korean. Unknown vessels, you have entered Vorthak space. State your purpose or face destruction. Taemin stood up and straightened his uniform. This was the most important moment in human history. He had to get this right. This is Captain Taemin Park of the human exploration ship Soul's Pride. We come in peace, seeking friendship and knowledge. We mean no harm to your people. The alien's eyes grew wider. It turned to speak with someone off-screen, then looked back at Taemin with what seemed like surprise. You dare challenge the might of the Vorthak Empire? You claim you will bring us no harm? This is either great courage or great foolishness. Taemin felt confused. Something was wrong with the translation. I think there's been a misunderstanding. We don't want to challenge anyone. We're explorers, not warriors. The alien leader's expression changed completely. His yellow eyes blazed with anger and he showed sharp teeth as he spoke. So you mock us as well? You say we are not worthy opponents? That we are so weak you need not even prepare for battle? The alien stood up, revealing a massive body covered in golden armor. I am war leader Thakmor of the Vorthak Empire. You have insulted our honor and declared war upon our people. We accept your challenge, small creatures. Prepare to face the consequences of your arrogance. Wait! Taemin shouted, but the screen went black. Woo Jin spoke up from his engineering station. Captain, their ships are powering up weapon systems. They're getting ready to attack. Taemin's mind raced. How had a peaceful first contact gone so wrong so quickly? Hana, check the translation system. Something went wrong. Hana's face went pale as she read her screen. Captain, I found the problem. When you said we mean no harm, the computer translated it as we will destroy you without effort. And when you said we're not warriors, it came out as you are too weak to be worth fighting seriously. Oh no, Sora whispered. We accidentally insulted them. Taemin felt sick to his stomach. Humanity's first contact with aliens, and they had accidentally declared war. Can we contact them again? Can we explain the mistake? I'm trying, Captain, but they're not responding to our calls, Hana reported. Suddenly, the alien leader's face appeared on screen again, but this time he was speaking to someone else. The computer continued translating. Send word to all ships of the fleet. We have encountered a new species. They are so arrogant that they declared total war upon first meeting. They claim they will destroy us without effort. Alert the Emperor. Alert the Galactic Council. Let all know that the Vorthak Empire has been challenged by creatures calling themselves humans. The transmission ended, and Taemin sank back into his chair. This was a disaster. Not only had they started a war by accident, but now the entire galaxy would hear about it. Captain, Woo Jin said quietly, their weapons are fully charged now. What are your orders? Taemin looked around at his crew. They were just explorers, scientists, and engineers. They weren't prepared for war. Their ship had some defensive weapons, but nothing compared to what those massive alien vessels must carry. Sora, can we outrun them? Maybe, Captain. Our engines are faster than most human ships, but I don't know about alien technology. Set course for Earth, maximum speed. Hana, send an emergency message to Earth Command. Tell them what happened and that we may have incoming hostiles. As the Soul's Pride turned away from the alien fleet and jumped to faster-than-light speed, Taman watched the stars streak past. In just a few minutes, everything had changed. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe, but their first neighbors wanted to destroy them. Captain, Hana said softly, I'm picking up transmissions from the alien fleet. They're broadcasting on frequencies that reach across the galaxy. What are they saying? They're telling everyone about us, about how we declared war on them. Other alien species are responding, Captain. Dozens of them. The whole galaxy is going to know about this. Taman closed his eyes. When he was a child, he had dreamed of being the first human to meet aliens. He had imagined peaceful exchanges of knowledge and culture. Instead, he had accidentally started humanity's first interstellar war. How long until we reach Earth, he asked. 48 hours at current speed, Sora replied. Good. That gives us time to figure out how to explain this mess. Taman stood up and looked at his crew. I know this isn't what any of us signed up for, but we need to warn Earth about what's coming. And maybe somehow we can find a way to fix this before it's too late. As the Soul's Pride raced toward home, carrying news that would change humanity forever, the Vorthak fleet began preparing for war. Behind them, across the galaxy, other alien species received the news with various reactions. Some felt sorry for humanity. Others were curious about these new creatures, but all of them agreed on one thing. The humans had just made a very big mistake. Dr. Eugene Seo had been studying Vorthak psychology for 3 weeks ever since the war began. As humanity's leading expert on alien behavior, she had been given access to all captured communications and battle recordings. What she discovered would change everything. Admiral Shin, she said as she entered the war room, I need to speak with you about the Vorthak mindset. Admiral Jae Young Shin looked up from the tactical displays showing the current battle situation. The human forces had been winning engagement after engagement, but the war was far from over. What have you learned, Doctor? The Vorthak aren't just angry about losing battles, Admiral. They're completely confused. Their entire culture is built around the idea of honorable defeat. Honorable defeat? Dr. Seo activated a holographic display showing Vorthak cultural data. In their society, losing a battle can be just as glorious as winning one, as long as you fight bravely and follow the rules of honor. They respect enemies who face them directly and fight courageously. But we're not doing that. Exactly. We're not following any rules they understand. From their perspective, we're not fighting at all. We're just existing in a way that happens to damage their ships. Admiral Shin leaned back in his chair. Are you saying they don't know how to handle an enemy that fights to win instead of fighting for honor? That's exactly what I'm saying. Admiral, I think we can use this. If we design our battles not just to defeat them militarily, but to defeat them psychologically, we might be able to end this war without destroying their entire fleet. I'm listening. The Vorthak need to understand that they're facing something completely outside their experience. They need to realize that humans are not just another warrior species that got lucky. We're something entirely different. Meanwhile, Colonel Sang-Min Kim was putting Dr. Seo's theories into practice on the battlefield. His ships had surrounded the remaining Vorthak fleet near Jupiter, but instead of attacking immediately, he tried something new. Attention Vorthak vessels, he broadcast on all frequencies. This is Colonel Kim of the Human Defense Force. We're going to show you how we fight. The confused Vorthak watched as human ships began an intricate dance around their formation. The humans moved in patterns that seemed impossible. Ships appearing and disappearing, striking from unexpected angles, working together like parts of a single organism. What are they doing? Asked the Vorthak tactical officer on War Leader. Thakmor's bridge, I don't know. Thakmor replied, watching the display in fascination and horror. Colonel Kim's ships weren't just attacking randomly. They were demonstrating human tactical thinking to the entire galaxy. Every move was calculated, every strike served multiple purposes, and every maneuver showed a level of coordination that the honor-bound Vorthak had never seen. "Now watch this," Colonel Kim announced, and his ships began an even more complex attack pattern. The humans struck the Vorthak formation from 6 different directions at once, but instead of trying to destroy the alien ships, they targeted specific systems. First, they knocked out weapons, then shields, then engines, leaving the Vorthak vessels helpless but alive. "We could have destroyed you at any time," Colonel Kim's voice echoed across space. "We chose not to. Think about what that means." Across the galaxy, other alien species were indeed thinking about what it meant. The battle was being broadcast live, and every civilization was watching with growing amazement. On the Eldari homeworld, Elder Starsong watched the display with ancient eyes that had seen thousands of wars. "This is not how warfare works," she whispered. "These humans fight like they're thinking several moves ahead of their enemies." On the water world of Aquatica, the cetaceans were equally amazed. "Look how they move together," clicked Elder Splashsong. "Like a school of fish, but each one is thinking independently." The insectoid hive minds of Kepler found the human tactics especially interesting. "Coordination without central control," buzzed the central queen mind. "Each human ship thinks for itself but works toward common goals." Fascinating. Even the usually profit-focused Quillen Consortium was impressed. "These humans are going to change everything," gurgled Chief Trader Profit Seeker. "Maybe we should stop betting against them and start trying to trade with them." But the most important reaction came from Admiral Chin-Ho Park, who was commanding the final phase of the human campaign. He had been watching the psychological profiles Dr. Seo had prepared, and he had an idea that could end the war. "Dr. Seo," he said over the communication system, "I want to try something. Can you help me design a battle that will make the Vorthak understand exactly what they're dealing with?" "What did you have in mind, Admiral?" "I want to surround their entire remaining fleet and give them a choice, but not the kind of choice they're expecting." Admiral Park's plan was brilliant in its simplicity. Instead of offering the Vorthak a chance to surrender or fight to the death, he offered them something their culture had no framework for understanding. "War Leader Thakmor," Admiral Park broadcast to the Vorthak flagship. "This is Admiral Park, of the Human Defense Force. You are completely surrounded. Your ships are damaged, your supplies are gone, and your ability to fight is nearly zero." "Then destroy us, human," Thakmor replied with dignity. "We will not surrender." "I'm not asking you to surrender, War Leader. I'm asking you to learn." "Learn what?" "Learn that there are other ways to think about strength, honor, and warfare. Your people have won every war for 800 years because you fought species that thought like you. We don't think like you." Admiral Park's ships began to demonstrate again, showing the Vorthak fleet tactical maneuvers that no honor-bound species would ever consider. They used deception, misdirection, and coordinated attacks that struck from unexpected directions. "This is how humans fight when our survival is at stake," Admiral Park continued. "We don't fight for glory or honor. We fight to protect our families and our future. And when humans fight for survival, we become something your people have never encountered before." "What are you?" Thakmor asked, his voice filled with confusion and a growing sense of awe. "We're adapters, War Leader. We change our tactics based on our enemies and our situation. We use whatever methods give us the best chance of survival. Your people are stronger than us, your ships are bigger than ours, your weapons are more powerful than ours. But we're still winning because we think differently." Dr. Seo had been right. The psychological impact was devastating to the Vorthak. Mindset. They could accept losing to a stronger enemy, that was honorable. They could accept losing to a more advanced enemy. That was understandable. But losing to an enemy that fought in ways they couldn't even comprehend was breaking their understanding of how the universe worked. "War Leader," came a quiet voice from the Vorthak tactical officer. "We're receiving communications from the rest of our fleet. Morale is very low, sir." Thakmor looked around his bridge at warriors who had never known defeat. Now they sat staring at displays that showed human ships moving in patterns that seemed to violate everything they knew about warfare. "Admiral Park," Thakmor said finally. "What do you want from us?" "I want you to understand that this war started because of a misunderstanding. We never wanted to fight you. But now that we have fought, both our species have learned something important." "What have we learned?" "You've learned that there are other ways to think about conflict, and we've learned that the galaxy is full of species with different ideas about honor and warfare. Maybe it's time we started learning from each other instead of fighting." For the first time in Vorthak history, war leader Thakmor began to consider the possibility that there might be strength in ideas other than traditional honor and glory. Ambassador Kyung-ho Yoon had been Earth's representative to the Galactic Council for only 3 months. He had spent most of that time learning about the hundreds of alien species that made up the galactic community. Now he stood in the great, circular chamber of the Council, feeling very small and very afraid. The news from Captain Park's ship had reached Earth just hours ago. Now every species in the galaxy was talking about the humans who had declared war on the mighty Vorthak Empire. Kyung-ho had been sent to explain what really happened, but he could see it was already too late. "The Council will now hear from the human representative," announced the speaker, a tall blue alien with 4 arms. Kyung-ho walked to the center of the chamber. Around him, representatives from dozens of worlds watched with curious eyes. Some looked sad, others seemed excited, and a few appeared to be taking notes. "Honored members of the Council," Kyung-ho began. "There has been a terrible misunderstanding. My people did not declare war on the Vorthak Empire. Our translation systems failed during first contact. We wanted peace, not conflict." A creature that looked like a walking tree raised one of its branch-like arms. "Human ambassador, are you saying your species is so primitive that you cannot even communicate properly?" "No, respected Elder Oak. We are new to galactic languages. Our computers made errors in translation. We said we came in peace, but the machine translated it as a challenge to war." From across the chamber, a voice spoke up. It belonged to Ambassador Velton of the Eldari, a species known for their wisdom and long lives. "Young human, while your explanation is believable, the damage is done. War leader Thakmor has already declared formal combat. The Vorthak do not withdraw such declarations." Kyung-ho felt his heart sink. Surely there must be something we can do, some way to explain the mistake. A fat, slug-like creature from the Quillen Consortium made a gurgling sound that the translator turned into laughter. "Human, you don't understand. The Vorthak have never lost a war. In 800 years, they have defeated every species they've fought. Your people are going to be extinct within a month." "The Quillen speaks truth," said a small gray alien. "We have begun betting pools on how long your species will survive. Current odds are 15 days. Would you like to place a bet?" Kyung-ho couldn't believe what he was hearing. These aliens were betting on humanity's destruction like it was a sporting event. "This is wrong," he said, his voice growing louder. "We're talking about the lives of billions of people. My family, my friends, everyone I've ever known." The Elder Oak representative spoke again, more gently this time. "Human ambassador, we understand your distress. But the Vorthak are warriors, born. They live for battle and honor. They have defeated species with technology far beyond yours. The peaceful Zephyrians lasted 12 days. The mighty Kronos Federation held out for 3 weeks. What chance do you think your people have?" Across the galaxy, other species were having similar conversations. On the water world of Aquatica, the dolphin-like cetaceans discussed the news while swimming in their city-sized pools. "Poor humans," clicked Elder Splash Song. "They seem like they might have been interesting neighbors." On the desert planet, Zerion, the sand-dwelling burrow people emerged from their underground cities to share the news. "New species declared war on Vorthak," chittered Scout Fast Dig. "Very brave or very stupid?" "Probably stupid," replied Elder Deep Tunnel. "No one challenges Vorthak on purpose." Meanwhile, in the crystal cities of the Eldari homeworld, ancient beings who had lived for thousands of years watched the unfolding drama with sad eyes. "Another young species about to learn that the galaxy is not a kind place," sighed Elder Wisdom Keeper Starsong. "Perhaps we should prepare memorial crystals for them." but not everyone in the galaxy felt sorry for humanity. On the war moon of Batarus, the weapon-loving armory guild was excited about the coming conflict. Finally, some entertainment, roared Chief Weapon Master Boomstrike. The Vorthak haven't had a good war in 50 years. This should be fun to watch. The insect-like hive minds of the Kepler system had a different reaction. Their collective consciousness found the situation fascinating from a scientific viewpoint. New, species behavior pattern detected, buzzed the central queen mind. Humans show unusual response to threat. Most species beg or hide when facing Vorthak. These humans seem to be preparing for actual resistance. Curious. Back on Earth, Dr. Minho Kang was working frantically in his laboratory. As humanity's top expert on alien biology, he had been given all available data on the Vorthak species. What he was discovering worried him even more than the threat of war. General Bay, he said into his communicator, I've finished my analysis of Vorthak military history. General Sujin Bay's voice came through clearly. What did you find, Doctor? It's worse than we thought. The Vorthak haven't just won every war they've fought. They've won them using the same tactics every time. Ship-to-ship battles in open space, with both sides lined up facing each other. Sometimes they include challenges to single combat between champions. That doesn't sound so bad. At least we know what to expect. That's just it, General. Every species they've fought has used the same basic approach to warfare. Honor-based combat, formal battles, rules of engagement. No one has ever tried anything different. What do you mean? Dr. Kang looked at his research data again. I mean that every species the Vorthak have defeated fought like them. Honorable, direct, face-to-face combat. But humans, we've never fought that way, have we? There was a long pause before General Bay answered. No, Doctor, we haven't. When humans fight, we fight to win. As news of the coming war spread across the galaxy, the Vorthak fleet began its journey toward human space. War leader Thakmor stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at star charts that showed the location of Earth. How long until we reach the human homeworld? He asked his navigation officer. 15 days at current speed, war leader. Good. That will give us time to prepare proper battle formations. These humans seem arrogant, but they are still just another species to be defeated. We will show them the price of insulting Vorthak honor. What war leader Thakmor didn't know was that humanity was preparing too. But they weren't preparing for the kind of war the Vorthak expected. They were preparing for the kind of war that humans had been fighting for thousands of years, the kind of war where honor mattered less than survival, and where the only rule was to win at any cost. Admiral Jae Young Shin looked at the holographic display showing Earth's solar system. Red dots marked the positions of human defense fleets, while a large group of yellow dots showed where the Vorthak fleet would arrive in 10 days. The numbers didn't look good for humanity. General Bay, what's our current military strength? Admiral Shin asked. General Sujin Bay stood on the other side of the war room table, studying troop deployment reports. We have 43 combat ships, Admiral. The Vorthak are bringing 12 vessels, but each one is 3 times larger than our biggest ship. So we're outnumbered and outgunned. In traditional terms, yes. But Dr. Kang's research suggests we might have other advantages. Admiral Shin nodded. The alien warfare analysis had been eye-opening. Every species the Vorthak had defeated fought using honor-based tactics. They lined up their ships, faced each other in open space, and fought like ancient knights having a tournament. Have you briefed our ship captains on Vorthak battle tactics? Yes, Admiral. They're all studying the data now. Captain Song's squadron is particularly interested in the enemy's predictable formation patterns. Lieutenant Dong Hyun Nam entered the war room carrying a datapad. Admiral General, I have the reconnaissance mission reports. What did you find out there, Lieutenant? Admiral Shin asked. Nam activated a holographic display showing the outer edge of the solar system. My team used our new stealth ships to scout the Vorthak advance force. They're traveling in a perfect formation, just like Dr. Kang predicted. No scouts, no advance guard, no irregular patrols. They're that confident? General Bay asked. It gets better, General. Specialist Yejin Park monitored their communications. They're not even trying to encrypt their signals. They talk openly about their battle plans because they assume no enemy would be dishonorable enough to listen in. Admiral Shin almost smiled. Almost. What else did you learn? Pilot Xionghuan Ko got close enough to scan their ships. Their weapons are incredibly powerful, but they're all forward-facing. They're designed for ship-to-ship combat where both sides face each other directly. No defensive weapons covering their flanks or rear? None that we could detect, Admiral. And their armor is heaviest in front, lighter on the sides and back. General Bay looked thoughtful. They've never needed to protect anything but their front because their enemies have always attacked head-on. Exactly, General, Nam continued. But there's more. They have no experience with what we would call guerrilla tactics. No hit-and-run attacks, no ambushes, no psychological warfare. Every battle they've fought has been a formal engagement with clear rules. Admiral Shin walked around the holographic display, studying the Vorthak formation. Show me their supply lines. Nam changed the display to show the enemy fleet's path through space. They have supply ships following behind their main force completely unprotected. In their experience, no one has ever attacked non-combat vessels. Because it would be dishonorable, General Bay said with understanding. Right. And here's the most interesting part. According to their communications, they expect us to challenge them to formal combat when they arrive. They're planning to offer us a chance to surrender honorably after we lose our first battle. Admiral Shin finally allowed himself to smile. They have no idea what they're dealing with, do they? No, sir. They think we're just another honor-bound warrior species that got too arrogant. General Bay brought up a new display showing human, military units across Earth and its colonies. Admiral, I've been thinking about our troop deployments. We shouldn't fight them the way they expect. Go on. Traditional human military doctrine has always been about adapting to the enemy and the terrain. We use cover, we use deception, we attack where the enemy is weak, and we retreat when they're strong. Exactly what Dr. Kang said in his report. Humans are the only species that evolved as both predator and prey. We know how to hunt and we know how to hide. Nam pulled up another display. General, my reconnaissance team also studied the individual Vorthak warriors. They're physically impressive, stronger, and tougher than humans, but they fight like medieval knights. They charge directly at their enemies and rely on strength and honor to win. Have they ever faced an enemy that shoots them from hiding? Admiral Shin asked. No, sir. That would be considered cowardly by their standards. General Bay laughed, but there was no humor in it. Cowardly to them, smart to us. Nam, I want you to set up a special operations unit. Pick soldiers who are good at stealth and unconventional warfare. Yes, General. What's our mission? You're going to teach the Vorthak that humans don't fight fair. Meanwhile, on the other side of Earth, Captain Hyun-Woo Song was meeting with his squadron commanders. These were the pilots who would face the Vorthak fleet in space combat. Listen carefully, Captain Song told his officers. Everything we know about space combat comes from war movies and video games. But the aliens have been fighting in space for centuries, and they've developed specific ways of doing it. Commander Jin-Ho Park raised his hand. Sir, the intelligence reports say they fight like sailing ships from old Earth history. That's right, Commander. They line up in formation and fire at each other until one side wins. It's formal, predictable, and completely different from how humans would naturally fight. So what's our strategy, Captain? Asked Lieutenant So-Ra Nam. We're going to do what humans do best. We're going to be unpredictable. Instead of lining up to face them, we're going to attack from multiple directions. Instead of fighting until we win or lose, we're going to hit them hard and then disappear. Commander Park looked confused. But sir, won't that be seen as cowardly? Captain, Song's expression grew serious. Commander, they declared war on our entire species based on a translation error. Do you think they're going to care about our feelings when they're bombing our cities? No, sir. Then we fight to protect our people, not to impress the enemy. If they want honor, they can find it somewhere else. We're here to win. Back in the main war room, Admiral Shin and General Bay were finalizing their plans. Dr. Min-Ho Kang had joined them, along with several other experts. Doctor, tell me again about human psychological advantages. Admiral Shin requested. It's quite simple, Admiral. Most species in the galaxy evolved as either predators or prey, but not both. Predator species tend to be confident and direct in their attacks. Prey species are usually cautious and defensive. Humans are unique because we were both. Meaning, we have the hunting instincts of a predator. We're good at tracking, planning, and coordinating attacks. But we also have the survival instincts of prey. We're excellent at hiding, escaping, and avoiding direct confrontation when it suits us, General Bay nodded. So we can think like hunters when we attack and like hunted animals when we need to survive. Exactly. The Vorthak are pure predators. They've never learned to think defensively because they've never needed to. They don't understand that sometimes the best way to win a fight is to avoid fighting until you have an advantage. And they have no experience with enemies who use terrain, cover, or deception, Admiral Shin added. None at all. In their minds, those tactics are dishonorable. But to humans, they're just common sense. Admiral Shin looked around the room at his officers and advisors. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 8 days to finish our preparations. The Vorthak are expecting to fight, another honor-bound warrior species. Instead, they're going to meet humanity. What are our final orders, Admiral? General Bay asked. Simple, General. We're going to show them that when humans fight, we don't fight for honor or glory. We fight for survival. And there's nothing in the universe more dangerous than a human who's fighting to survive. War Leader Thakmor stood on the bridge of his flagship as the Vorthak fleet entered the human solar system. Behind him, 11 other massive warships followed in perfect formation. After 800 years of victory, he felt confident about this latest conquest. Communications officer, signal the human fleet. Tell them we offer them one chance to surrender with honor before we destroy them. Yes, War Leader. But sir, I'm not detecting any human ships in formation to meet us. Thakmor's yellow eyes narrowed. What do you mean? Where is their battle fleet? Unknown, sir. Our sensors show several small ships scattered throughout the system, but they're not in battle formation. They appear to be hiding. Hiding? Thakmor's voice rose with anger. Cowards. They dare to issue a challenge and then hide like prey animals? What War Leader Thakmor didn't understand was that the human ships weren't hiding from fear. They were hunting. Captain Hyunwoo Song floated in the shadow of a large asteroid, watching his instruments carefully. His stealth ship was invisible to Vorthak sensors, and he had a perfect view of the alien formation. All units, this is Hunter 1. He whispered into his communicator. Enemy fleet is exactly where predicted. Beginning Operation Wolfpack. Across the solar system, human ships received the signal. They weren't lined up for a traditional battle. Instead, they were positioned like wolves surrounding a herd of deer. Hunter 2 ready? Came the voice of Commander Jinho Park. Hunter 3 in position, reported Lieutenant Sora Nam. Captain Song watched as the Vorthak fleet continued forward, expecting the humans to appear and challenge them to formal combat. Instead, the first attack came from behind. Lieutenant Dong Hyun Nam's Special Operations team had been waiting in the outer asteroid belt. Their target wasn't the main Vorthak fleet, it was the supply ships following behind. Target acquired, Nam whispered to his team. Specialist Yejin Park, are you ready? Ready, sir. All supply ship locations confirmed. Pilot Seunghwan Ko, take us in quiet and fast. The human attack ships moved like shadows through space. The Vorthak supply vessels had no shields up and no weapons ready. Why would they? In 800 years, no enemy had ever attacked non-combat ships. Nam's ship struck all 6 supply vessels at once. Within minutes, the Vorthak fleet had lost all their food, fuel, and spare parts. War Leader, shouted the communications officer. On the Vorthak flagship, our supply ships are under attack. Thakmor couldn't believe what he was hearing. That's impossible. No honorable warrior attacks supply ships. Sir, they're destroyed. All of them. Then these humans have no honor at all, Thakmor growled. Signal the fleet. We advance to their home planet and destroy them all. But as the Vorthak fleet moved deeper into the solar system, they discovered that their problems were just beginning. Captain Song's ships began the next phase of the attack. Instead of facing the aliens directly, they struck from multiple directions, at once, targeting the least defended parts of the Vorthak vessels. Remember, Song told his pilots, hit them where they're weak, then disappear before they can respond. The human ships darted in from above and below the Vorthak formation, firing at their sides and rear before vanishing back into space. The aliens tried to turn their massive ships to face the attacks, but the humans were too fast and too unpredictable. "This is madness," Thakmor shouted. "They fight like insects, stinging and running away." His tactical officer looked confused. "War leader, should we break formation to chase them?" "No. We maintain formation and advance. They must face us in honorable battle eventually." But the humans had no intention of fighting honorably. On the surface of Mars, Major Yoon-Young Lim was preparing for the ground assault she knew was coming. The Vorthak always followed the same pattern: space battle first, then ground troops to claim victory. "Listen up, everyone," she told her soldiers. "Intelligence says the Vorthak ground forces fight like medieval knights. They charge in straight lines, they prefer single combat, and they think using cover is cowardly." Sergeant Young-Ho Kim raised his hand. "Major, what's our strategy?" "Simple, Sergeant. We're going to use every dirty trick humans have ever invented. Ambushes, booby traps, snipers, and anything else that will give us an advantage." "Won't they consider that dishonorable?" Major Lim smiled grimly. "Sergeant, they're planning to conquer our planet. I don't care what they think is honorable." Meanwhile, in space, the Vorthak fleet was growing frustrated. They had expected a glorious battle, but instead they were being attacked by an enemy they could barely see. "War leader," reported the tactical officer, "we've lost 3 ships to these hit-and-run attacks. Our formation is breaking apart." Thakmor watched his perfect fleet formation fall apart as his ships tried to chase the elusive human vessels. "This is not how war is supposed to be fought." "Sir, the humans are broadcasting something. Put it on screen." The image of Admiral J. Young Shin appeared on the Vorthak bridge. "War leader Thakmor, this is Admiral Shin of the Human Defense Force. You wanted a war. Now you have one. Human Admiral, face us in honorable combat. Stop this cowardly hiding and fight like true warriors." Admiral Shin's expression didn't change. "War leader, you declared war on us based on a misunderstanding. You came to our home system planning to destroy our people. Did you expect us to make it easy for you? All species fight with honor. This is the way of civilized beings." "Maybe. That's why all those species lost to you," Admiral Shin replied. "Humans fight to win, not to look honorable. If you want to leave our system now, we'll let you go. If you want to continue this war, you'll learn why challenging humanity was a mistake." Thakmor's face twisted with rage. "We do not retreat. We will crush you, cowardly humans." "Then you've chosen the hard way to learn your lesson." The transmission ended, and Captain Song's voice came over the human communication network. "All units, the aliens have refused our offer. Continue the hunt." What followed was unlike any battle the galaxy had ever seen. The humans didn't line up and fight fairly. They struck from asteroid fields, used the gravity of planets to boost their speed, and attacked in coordinated waves that hit the Vorthak fleet from every direction at once. Commander Jin-Ho Park led his squadron in a brilliant maneuver, using the planet Jupiter's massive gravity to slingshot around and hit the Vorthak rearguard before disappearing into the planet's storm clouds. Lieutenant Soranam's team attacked the Vorthak flagship's communications array, cutting off their ability to coordinate their remaining ships. And throughout it all, Dong-Hyun Nam's special forces continued their strikes on anything that wasn't a main battleship: fuel depots, repair drones, even the small shuttlecraft the Vorthak used for transportation. By the end of the first day of battle, the mighty Vorthak fleet was scattered, damaged, and completely demoralized. They had expected to fight another honor-bound species. Instead, they had encountered something entirely new. "War leader," his communications officer said quietly, "we're receiving transmissions from across the galaxy. Other species are watching this battle." "What are they saying?" They're amazed, sir. The humans are winning." For the first time in 800 years, war leader Thakmor began to understand what it felt like to be afraid.